Man, is he really Chicago's youngest serial killer? Let's rock.
The story of Lil Yummy is probably the saddest and most insane story I've ever talked about on my channel. Lil Yummy was born Robert Sandifer in the south side of Chicago on the 12th of March, 1983. His now famous nickname, Lil Yummy, came from the boy's love of cookies. He was never given a real chance in life.
Y'all just y'all gotta be fucking with me. Ain't no way.
Both Yummy's parents were teens when he was born. As a baby, his mother was a prostitute and his father was in jail. Yummy's mother used to beat
Whoa, why y'all ain't have to do him like that. Y'all did not have to do him like that. Why y'all expose his mama like
her
that?
children violently, and at only 4, he was taken away to live with his grandmother. Things didn't get much better for Yummy, though. His grandmother was housing 19 children, so Yummy ended up being
Oh my god, y'all did not just say 19 kids. Water bill, high as a bitch, groceries through the roof. What else? Clothes, back to school shoot. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
completely neglected. He was also abused by his grandmother, and Yummy would often be found with cigarette burns all over his body. At only 8 years old, Yummy dropped
19 kids, can you blame her? I need a cigarette too. At that point.
out of school and became involved in the streets. Crazily, at this age, Yummy learned how to drive and began robbing cars. He also became known in his neighborhood for breaking into houses. At this time, he fell in with the black disciples who used kids as drug runners
BD.
because they would receive such light sentencing. Yummy even got BDN tattooed on his right forearm, which stood for Black Disciple Nation.
At 11? Who?
At 10, Yummy was arrested for armed robbery. The police, after arresting Yummy, took him to a psychological examiner who reported Robert is a child growing up without any encouragement and support, and that he has a sense of failure that has infiltrated almost every aspect of his inner self. Not long after this
Damn.
arrest, he was sent to the Lawrence Hall DCFS shelter on Chicago's north side. This was a place for troubled homeless boys to stay, but Yummy ran away and continued his life of crime. All of
course he
these
did.
activities meant Yummy had 23 felonies at the age of 11.
I'm 24 and I got 0. That's fucking
He
crazy.
genuinely scared cops, lawyers, and judges because of how little he cared. An interview with a lady who lived on his block describes very well how bad he really was.
How long did you know him?
Since I've been staying around here,
How long was that?
about a year.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
What was he like?
Bad.
Bad?
Say that
Like, when you
bad.
say bad, what do you mean?
Fighting, stealing, breaking into people's houses.
I think you should have answered the question.
Yeah?
Shut up!
When
Why
you
am I always
found-
open up that door?
Did you ever see, like, the police coming to his house?
Every other day.
Every other day the police come
Every
to his
other day.
Mm-hmm.
house? Yeah. When you found out that he was killed, right? What did you think?
I mean, it shocked me. He shouldn't have got killed like that. I mean, he didn't have to die the way he was killed, but that's the life you live. That's what happened.
At 11, he was supplied with a gun by a member of his gang and began flexing it to scare people on his block. Sadly, this gun would be the beginning of Yummy's end. A BD member ordered the 4'6" child to carry out a hit on arrival. He approached a group of boys standing
4'6". If you his ops, you gonna look right over him. Like, I don't even see little bro. You just gonna see shots. You don't even see little bro.
on South Perry Avenue around 6:30. Yummy walked up to 16-year-old Keonta Britton and asked him what gang he claimed. Britton told the 11-year-old he wasn't involved before Yummy pulled out a gun and shot him in the stomach at point-blank range. Yummy sprinted away and police quickly arrived on the scene. The police asked the victim who
Man, I'm telling you, if you gonna die or go to jail, please let it be about some money earned. Please. Why are y'all doing this shit for free?
shot him. And Britton replied, "Yummy shot me. I knew it was Yummy. I saw his face before he shot me." Clearly, Yummy, despite his young age, was well known to his rivals. Thankfully, Britton was able to be saved, but Yummy's next victim later that day wouldn't be so lucky. Only 2
The
hours
same
later,
day?
Yummy came back. Just around the corner of where he shot Britton earlier, he spotted 6 guys playing football. He walked up with no mask,
He
wearing
shot
a
up a
shirt that
football
just said
game?
"Boss," and opened fire
No.
erratically. Bullets went everywhere.
He shot
A
up the
parked
whole
van was
football
hit,
game.
A house window was hit, and tragically, 14-year-old Shavon Latrice Dean was hit in the head. Shavon, who wasn't even with the boys but simply walking past, died an hour later. The boys Yummy was trying to shoot identified him to police, and a manhunt for the 11-year-old began. Yummy began living in abandoned houses while being supported by some BDs. CPD and even the FBI were now looking for him. Yummy decided he was going to turn himself in and went back to his old neighborhood 3 days after the murder. Here, he met his neighbor, who he asked to call his grandmother and to pray for him. When the neighbor came back out, he was gone. Little did Yummy know, high-ranking BDs decided he needed to be killed because they feared the little child would become an informant. After being threatened by their own gang, BD brothers Craig and Derek Hardaway agreed to kill Yummy.
Craig to kill him.
Why did Robert die?
By means of not my control.
And was it your life
It
versus
be your
his?
own homies, I'm
Absolutely.
telling you.
You thought it was that simple as either you do this or you die.
And that's how it always boils down. It's not like any wiggle room when you live in that lifestyle.
So you're saying you had no other choice?
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
When the neighbor went inside to call Yummy's grandmother, the brothers drove up to Yummy and
How do you sleep with yourself killing a little 4'6" kid? I don't care what he did. If he ain't trying to kill you, you sick. You really sick,
promised to
real
get him
good.
out of Chicago. The brothers drove Yummy to a railroad underpass. They ordered Yummy to get out of the car and get on his knees. Once he did so, 16-year-old Craig shot him twice in the back of the head, killing Yummy. They left the body, which was found the following day. Yummy's story became world famous after his death, even making the cover of Time magazine. His tragic story became synonymous with the struggle of impoverished children across the nation who have been completely abandoned by the
He made it
world.
on Time
Yummy's
magazine.
story had a big effect on Tupac. Tupac often mentioned Yummy and dissed BDs for what they did to him.
Do you feel for those mothers who lost their children and babies to senseless gang and youth violence? Do you have a message of consolation for those mothers?
Yeah,
I
do.
ain't know this. Hold on.
Like with Yummy, when he passed on, you know, I know that hurt his family. I know it hurt the family of the female he supposedly have, you know, shot. Just recently, this lady wrote me named.
The two brothers were found guilty of murder and served 2 decades. Derek was released in 2016 and Craig in 2020.
Released? Back of the head, kidnapping, murder, released? Of a minor? That's wicked.
The only
That is
positive light
wicked.
in this story is the pair managed to turn their lives around while in jail. After being completely abandoned by the BDs who put no money on the brothers' books, Craig and Derek left the gang.
Why not tell?
Because I was believing in the foolishness they was telling me as far as the gangs and that lifestyle.
What did they tell you?
How they gonna be there, support, take care of us, our families, everything.
And?
Nothing.
So that was worth going to prison over? Get his brain scanned real quick. We gotta scan what's going on up there, cause it can't be too much. I don't know if them waves and that ponytail too damn tight or what going on.
Literally nothing. No letter, no contact, no money for me, my family, they need.
You
no
ain't
lawyer.
deserve it. You don't deserve
Literally
not a
nothing.
dime.
Both got their GEDs and associated degrees. Derek learned to landscape by working in the prison garden, and Crag is involved in anti-violence programs. It's easy to look at Yummy as a gangster who died the way he lived, but he was a child who never received support from anyone. He was a
Them
child who
boys went
grew
from
up in an
BD to
environment where a bed
GED.
to sleep on was a luxury. We're all influenced heavily by our environment. His environment was violence with no guidance. There really has to be questions asked of a society that allows an 8-year-old child to drop out of school with nothing else for him to do. Rest in peace to both Siobhan Latrice Dean and Yummy. Make sure you like and subscribe if you made it to the end. It's free and really helps me out.
I don't know what inner city Chicago got going on, but it's some wicked, wicked, wicked activity, boy. I tell you that.